Okay, so hello there. This is chapter 27. This is take 2, by the way, because I spoke for 15 minutes, finished it, and then realised that the sound was off, so that was no use at all. So let's have another go. So we start off with a date. It's 18 days before the calendar February. Don't worry about Roman dating, just remember the 15th of January. Okay, I don't know how it's managed to go yellow there. I don't really want that, so that's a nuisance. Okay, so that sets the date. Then we're told that the Haruspex umbricius. Now, Galbae is strictly dative, but the genitive suggests that this is Galba's Haruspex. There's no reason to think otherwise. The fact he has a Haruspex is puzzling because back in chapter 18, I can just see. Back in chapter 18, he was described as a contemptor talium, a contemptor of such things. But here he is with his Haruspex in front of the temple of Apollo. Apollo is the god of prophecy, so that would make sense. So Galba's getting increasingly desperate. Anyway, umbricius, his Haruspex, praedicit, present tense, prophesies to him or pronounces to Galba, sacrificanti. So there's Galba's getting fully involved doing the sacrifice in front of the temple of Apollo. Anyway, this umbricius pronounces that the entrails, the exta, are woeful, terrible, and there's a looming plot, and there's a domesticum hostem, there's an enemy within. 3 things he predicts from his examination of liver and stuff like that. But it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. And who's happening to be standing there but Otho? Otho is within earshot for some reason. He'd been stood there right next to all this. And let's just notice this, audiente, that's a present participle. Praedicit's the end of the sentence. Verbs go at the end in Latin sentences, as you know, but it's now being artificially, if you like, extended by audiente and later by interpretante as well. These participles coming after the main verb artificially prolong the sentence against the reader's expectation, the listener's expectation. And that keeps the reader listening, all right? Anyway, with Otho interpreting this as lightum, as good news, on the other hand, and something promising as far as his cogitations go. Cogitationibus. So I think the length of the word itself suggests the depth, the length of planning that Otho's put into this conspiracy. Nec multo post, not long afterwards, his freedman. Of course, we know that Otho is too close to his freedmen. Here's one of them, Onomastus. He announces something, present tense, graphic, present tense, heightening the immediacy of the storytelling, announces that he's being awaited, expectari, by his architect and his builders. Quae significatio convenerat, which had been agreed as the sign of soldiers already coming together and of the conspiracy having been prepared. You would expect in normal Latin accusative infinitive, but Tacitus being Tacitus, twice he has genitive present participle construction, just to be provocative, challenging, engaging, different. Otho I think Tacitus would normally have here come, sorry, no, not Tacitus, but anybody else would have here come plus the imperfect subjunctive or something. So when people ask the reason for his departure, and you would probably have an indirect question, Tacitus manages this in 3 short words. One, a substantive participle, i.e. a noun, causam digressus, 2 more nouns. So he does flout convention, Tacitus. Cum finxisset, when he had fabricated, when he had lied that some praedia, some estates had been bought by him or were being bought, it's the present passive infinitive, and they were suspect, they were dodgy because of their age, and for that reason, and for that reason, they needed to be pre-explored, they needed to be inspected beforehand, in case it was a bad deal. In nixus liberto, leaning on his freedman. Well, I think we're used to the idea, I think I just mentioned it, that Tacitus is too close to his freedmen. Here he is leaning all over him, maybe his arm round his shoulder. That's not very Roman or very manly behaviour. And then we're taken through the route that Otho's meant to have travelled, through the Palace of Tiberius, to the Velabrum, and then to the Golden Milestone. Does he journey? And then he gets to the Temple of Saturn. There, 23 speculatores, they're 23 bodyguards. They work alongside the Praetorian Guards to keep the emperor safe. So they are fellow traitors. They've teamed up with Otho. Now notice all this. This is very significant. So these bodyguards rapiunt. They snatch him, they grab him. And the consultatum imperatorem. Imperatorem, he's accusative. This is Otho being hailed as emperor, but he's very much passive. He's not active in this plot, it seems. He's just bundled around by these bodyguards and Praetorian guards. So, having been hailed as emperor, and then this is reaction of Otho, trepidum. He's trembling at the paucity, at the small number of people who've turned out to hail him as emperor. That's not very heroic. He made a heroic speech saying, now is the time to do our best, seize the opportunity. And yet here he is, trepidum, because he's worried that not enough people are going to make this coup work. The bodyguards are still the subject here. So he is quickly slapped in a cellar, a litter, a sedan chair, which is the sort of thing women normally travel in. And these same bodyguards with their mucronibus strictis, with their daggers drawn, which presents a very ominous, un-Roman, threatening, villainous picture. So, just once again, there, 23 bodyguards having hailed him as emperor, and with Otho being rather alarmed at this small number of people who turned out to greet him. He was bundled in a sedan chair hurriedly, and they take him away with daggers drawn. So, more or less totidem milis, the same number of soldiers, the Praetorian Guards. Ad gregantor, grex is a flock of sheep. So they gather, they join in on the journey. the journey, presumably to the Praetorian Guards camp. And then we've got this interesting final flourish from Tacitus. It gives all the different reasons why people are joining in this conspiracy. So, and there's variatio all over the shop here. Alii conscientia, some are doing it because they were in on the conspiracy, but far more were just wrapped up in the whole exciting event. Some were shouting and waving their swords. I suppose they were all for it. But then, pars silentio, some in silence. And Tacitus, with a typical psychological insight, suggests they're silent because sumptori. They're going to take their animum, they're going to make up their mind, they're going to assume their attitude to all this ex eventu, from events, from how things work out. If it goes well, they'll claim to have always been loyal supporters of Otho. If it looks as though it's going to fail, they'll probably just melt away into the background. So, there we go. That's chapter 27. Let's see how that works out and whether there's any sound on it. I'll upload this ASAP. Thank you.